today's video, we're going to be going over why the current upcoming pattern does support major snowfall events in the Ohio Valley, into the Mid-Atlantic, and the Northeast. We'll of course be going over the overall pattern as well, so everybody from the West Coast to the East Coast is going to be getting valuable information today. Now, before we get into things, be sure to check out Prestige Weather in the description, pinned comment, and the top right corner of your screen. We do weather consulting for businesses and individuals alike. We do a lot of consulting calls, consulting emails, consulting texts, and we have an exclusive community for you guys for weather consulting. It's all for only $5 a month, and we're actually running a promotion right now for Black Friday. If you put in the code DIRECT at checkout, you will get your first month for only $1. Be sure to check it out today. Let's just dive into things, and we're taking a look at this evening, late this evening, because this is a later video. And we did have a nor'easter kind of impacting the Carolinas into Virginia. That is eventually, and probably already actively happening, coming offshore here of the Mid-Atlantic, and it will move up here by time we're taking a look at about 2 or 3 a.m. tonight. That's going to be Sunday into Monday, the 26th into the 27th. Right around Long Island or New York City. We will begin to see snowfall occurring here for the Adirondack Mountains, into the Green Mountains, and even the White Mountains there of New Hampshire. There is a ton of frigid air pouring in behind this system here, so just like that. Now, this low pressure system is just a little bit ahead of this cold air, and that is why this one didn't end up becoming a very major snowstorm, because all the ingredients were there. The timing was what didn't work out for this one to really pull through and become a major system. Oftentimes, it's not that the ingredients aren't there, it's just that timing that doesn't line up. So we're going to be talking about the potential of those ingredients today. That doesn't guarantee that there will ever really be a lining up of those timing and the conditions being just perfect at the right time. Now, let's just keep going. I want to take us towards Monday afternoon on the 27th. This low will drop in pressure all the way down to a 988 millibar low pressure center there. It will still be bringing very heavy snowfall to northern Maine, into areas of eastern Canada. And look at this classic pattern. We have a huge ridge in the west, and then this really wide and intense trough here in the eastern half of the nation. This is very classic, positive PNA pattern here. Again, the positive PNA being positive Pacific North American oscillation. All that means is that the Pacific North American areas are warmer than normal, and this forces the cold to move into the east. And sure enough, we see that occurring. Let's keep going. I want to take us towards Tuesday here on the 28th. So let's keep going. And by the time we're taking a look at this afternoon on Tuesday the 28th, we can see that the center of this trough is now located over the eastern states there. So we still see this massive ridge in the west, but now this trough is centered over the east. For the East Coast, this includes the Northeast through the Mid-Atlantic and even into the Southeast. This will be the coldest night, Tuesday into Wednesday, 28th into 29th. This will be a lot of people's first freeze. Definitely a very hard freeze for many. A lot of 20s, a lot of lower 30s for the Southeast. This is going to be the coldest night of the year so far, and probably will go down as one of the coldest nights of the year overall. Wednesday, and that means this season, by the way, because we did have obviously January, February, March in this year, but we are taking a look at a new winter season, and that is what I'm referring to there. Just want to clarify. Wednesday the 29th, we do see things flattening out here. We see this trough is now centered somewhere over the North Atlantic. And we do still have some cooler air moving through progressively in the eastern states, but this is really coming to an end at this point. Very quiet overall as well, as you can see. Not a lot of storms to discuss. So we're going to glide right past this into Thursday. This is where things begin to look interesting. We see our next kind of Arctic blast billowing up here in Canada, ripening to come down into the eastern states eventually. We do see a storm brewing down here as well. So the storm is on the rise. This cold air is sinking down and strengthening, and this is all going to come together to cause some potential for some snowfall here. As we reach towards Friday, this is when things get really interesting. Not only do we have our initial storm that started out over here in the plains and now has moved into the eastern states in a pretty flat fashion, I would say. But we also have our next kind of area of storminess now developing. So this one is on the rise here. This is an intensifying area of storms. Now, again, this is going to come down to timing, okay? Because we have a lot of ripe cold air, and if this can really dig in and meet this storminess here, we could see a lot of things happen in this particular area that you probably saw on the thumbnail. Now, I'm not specifically referring to this Friday, December 1st system one in the thumbnail. It's mostly just an overall pattern that supports snowfall over the next multiple weeks in that area, as we see storm after storm, Arctic outbreak after Arctic outbreak. The chance of that timing coming together, as we've referred to multiple times in this video, just continues to rise over time. This is by Friday, December 1st. I'm going to take us overnight, and a lot of this storminess does meet with some of this cold air. We do see some snowfall in the very high elevations here, as you can see. I'm going to keep going, and that storm does eventually come to an end. That's storm number 2. We do have, obviously, this major snowfall happening throughout the Northwest, the Sierra Nevadas, and then the Rockies as well. So a lot of snowfall out west. We have another storm system billowing here and growing through the deeper south and southeast. And we have more cold air than ever here on the rise. Now, as we see all of this come together, we get a very interesting pattern. Again, this rising ridge in the west, indicative of a positive PNA. So that's ingredient number 1 here. This forces warm air up the west coast. All the cold air that would have been there is now recirculating back down into the central states and heading eastward. And we can see a deeper trough here than we've seen over the past few days before this, now over the central states. And then we see this bit of a ridge with this storminess in the east. So this cold air is moving in. Look at it as more of a cold front type situation. And then we have storms growing along it. And it's all how this interacts that leads to either snowfall or no snowfall. In this case, it's not really going to come together that much. We see this low develops really far inland here for western New York. And we mostly get snowfall here in Canada out ahead of this system. But there is plenty of really frigid air right behind it. And if this timing is a little bit better once these situations really happen, let's say the low is offshore here as opposed to very far inland, we would be talking about major snowfall here in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic, as well as some of the Ohio Valley. So we are that close to seeing things like that happen. We have plenty of cold air moving in. All of this cold air would support snowfall. And really just 12 hours later or less, we would be supportive of snowfall. And again, if you're not just trusting what I'm saying, look at all the blue on screen. All those showers that are left over are in the form of snowfall. So just 6 or 12 hours later, we have cold enough air to support snowfall with a low pressure system that just narrowly missed it. So when we're talking about 222 hours out, and we see a pattern that supports frequent major cooldowns and frequent major storms in the eastern states, you're going to want to be on high alert for snowfall opportunities, and very major ones at that. So yes, we're not seeing an actual snowstorm coming into reality here. The ingredients are all there. They're just kind of scrambled up in a bowl in the wrong way is kind of how you can look at it figuratively. And the timing can change all of that. This is very classic, by the way, the jet stream here. We have this ridge out west, digging deep trough here, and then rising up the east coast. I mean, we are in prime position to see a low develop here just offshore along this cold air. So I don't want you guys to take this too lightly. There is some huge potential here through the end of November into the beginning first week of December. We're going to be watching very closely here at Direct Weather, of course. We do have another major storm system developing here in the Northwest that we need to watch, and that could be our next storm system down the pipeline, of course. And we see this kind of splits. We get a bit of a storm system here in the upper Midwest, a little bit of a mixed bag wintry storm there. And then we have another storm system developing for the Northwest where we have 1,004 right here. So 999 there in northern Minnesota, 1,004 there in western Montana. We have frequent storms moving along this. And again, plenty of cold in the east. So if the timing changes even slightly, or we see a storm pop up that this model wasn't picking up on beforehand, we are looking at huge potential for not only just a snowstorm, but major snowfall events here. And that is the main focus in this video. Let's take a look at the total precipitation, and you can really pick up on the fact that we have frequent storms moving through the northwest and then rising coastal storms up the eastern states. And again, we're going to have very cold temperatures right there where I put that minus symbol. So certainly the ingredients are right in front of us. It's just the timing never works out on this particular model run. But as we know, model runs can be very, very wrong. It's usually those ingredients you want to look for, not exactly how they come together. That's the type of stuff that lines up much shorter range. And we're going to be watching closely for that. Total snowfall here, we have plenty expected out west, as you can see. Lots of 10-inch, 20, 30-inch amounts here for these mountains, not only in the Cascades, but also the Sierra Nevadas and even the Rockies there. And then around the Great Lakes into the mountainous regions of the Northeast, even though we don't get a major snowstorm here, we still see major snowfall for areas along those Great Lakes where lake effect snowfall is going to be a really common occurrence here over the next 10 days. Not only that, the mountain ranges of Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern Maine also expecting 10-inch plus amounts of snowfall, so things are looking really wintry here in these northeast portions of the nation. Temperature pattern, again, we're going to look at these major cooldowns. We get this major Arctic blast here. Anywhere in these blues on the outside is going to be about 1 to 10 degrees below normal, so pretty marginal cold. It's mostly these greens that we want to watch for, and we see a lot of this around the east here. That is going to be 10 to 15 degrees below what your normal temperature is. So let's say your normal temperature is about 50 degrees as a high, you're going to be taking a look at 40 degree temperatures or even 35 degrees. Within this blue, within the green, so this area here, this is a different layer of blue. This is your 15 to 25 degrees below normal. So again, if your average high temperature is 50, you're looking at 35 degrees to as far down as about 25 degrees. So we're looking at massive differences here compared to your normal temperatures as a result of that very major Arctic blast. That moves through, and by the time we're reaching Thursday, Friday, that officially comes to an end. But again, we have frequent cooldowns on the way, so let's take a look at the next one. A little bit more marginal this time around, but we do get very supportive cold that, again, would support a coastal system to provide snowfall to the northeast corner of the nation here. If that was to occur, that would be sometime around the 4th through the 6th. But I think the main story here of this video is not only do we have potential within this 10-day period on this model run, but if we stick in this pattern beyond this point, we will continue to see potential through the mid portion of December, and that's especially what we want to watch for here. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. We do upload videos just like this one every single day, so be sure to subscribe. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.